Someone on your team is likely using AI that you don't even know about. And this is creating unnecessary risk and exposure for your organization. What I'm talking about is shadow AI usage. Shadow AI usage is when someone at your company is using unauthorized tools to access LLMs, and they're putting your confidential information out there for these models to get trained on. And now these AI companies are going to own your data, and that could be very sensitive information or trade secrets that you don't want out there. In this video, I'm going to walk through exactly how to secure your AI footprint at your organization and understand a little bit more about the basic security measures you should be putting in place with AI. So let's start. What is shadow AI? Shadow AI is when someone at your company is leveraging a AI chatbot or an LLM and feeding it information that it shouldn't be. It's their use of unauthorized tools, like going and creating a ChatGPT free account or a Claude account and feeding in your company secrets in that, or even like your customer and your client information that they, of course, wouldn't want you doing. And so it is super important to lock this stuff down. These companies are not just taking that data and then looking at it only for just a minute. They are storing this. They are training their models around this. And there's even been some really big lawsuits like the New York Times against OpenAI, where this data was used and it was unauthorized, and it got surfaced to a competitor of the New York Times on some of their trade secrets. So it's important to lock this stuff down, be aware of what's going on within your organization, and know that your team is doing this. If you think they're not doing it, I promise you that they are. 80% of working professionals today are using AI in some manner, and that's whether they're using it through your approved tools or not. According to research done in 2024, about 38% of employees knowingly are leaking confidential information to these AI models. And this is not just a problem in the big enterprise, it's actually a major problem within small businesses. About a quarter, or 27%, of small business workers have reported using shadow AI within their organization. So what can you do about this? The first thing that you need to do is you need to develop organization accounts on the different LLMs. You can pick one that you're going to standardize with, or like our organization, use multiple and just ensure that someone can have access to these tools in a enterprise or a team account. Every time that you go to an LLM and you have a free account or it's not a group account, you're going to see on there that the LLM is being trained on the data that you give it. So you always look for the little fine print on the bottom. You want to ensure that that goes away. You want to have this stuff in an organization account or in a team account, that it is not actually training their models on the data that you're giving it. So going and setting up accounts on Anthropic, on OpenAI, on Grok, getting the team or enterprise capability or the group, and then sharing that out, allowing your teams to pick which one that they would prefer is a great way to do it, but also standardizing on one is one way to do it as well. And one of the ones that we would recommend is Copilot. Microsoft Copilot offers enterprise data protection. So every time you log in to Copilot, you're going to see up on the top right, there is a green shield on there. And that means that your data is staying within your tenant and it is not going to the models to train them on that. So you're not going to end up in a lawsuit, like the New York Times or some of these other big brands that are out there. Most of the time, your data, if you're using a free app, is going to be training the models. And this is a big concern. Satya Nadella even says himself that the thing that people should be worried about today is not what AI is going to do in terms of like job replacement and the capabilities, but rather what these AI companies are going to do when their models are trained on your trade secrets and your confidential information. So it's a bigger deal than most people are thinking about today. You should be diligent and vigilant at doing this proactively and locking stuff down so your information and your private data is not leaking out to the public model companies or the private model companies. One of the best ways to lock things down within your organization's AI structure is to implement an AI policy. And about 82% of organizations have a policy in place today, but the majority of people are not following. So ensure that you've got a policy, but you're also enforcing the policy. And then once you have a subscription with one of these tools, there are tons of connectors that are available out there that you can install in, whether it's like Microsoft 365 to go and look at your email, your calendar, or look at, your Google accounts like Gmail and G Suite, even Notion, and some of these other tools that are out there. They are great to use with these connectors. What you'll want to do is ensure that you're only using approved connectors. If you're using ones that are third-party built, there is a huge opportunity for malicious actors to inject dependencies in there that are going to steal your credentials and harvest those credentials and share them with bad actors. So you want to make sure that you're only using approved connectors from the model company that you're leveraging or the platform that you're leveraging, like Anthropic or Copilot, ChatGPT. You want to use those connectors that are easily able to install. You don't want to allow your team to venture off and use third-party connectors that have the potential for some malicious code to be in there that's going to harvest your credentials. A good example of this happening is with the Light LLM dependency. It's a Python library that was used very heavily amongst AI developers, and this ended up that this had a massive flaw and it was stealing thousands of people's information, credentials, and this happened kind of under the nose of a lot of the the AI developers that are out there. So it's very important you stay vigilant in knowing what's being installed and what's being used within your organization's tenant and just overall tech stack. Another key tip is to never put your API keys or your passwords into the chat interface. There are ways for bad actors to steal that session or look back at previous context and steal previous passwords and API keys that you've put into previous sessions. So even though it feels safe, it's like you're talking to a coworker and sharing a password with them. It's not the case. Make sure that you're always storing these in either key vaults or in an encrypted setup. So this way you're not getting your passwords leaked or stolen by some sort of session hack or man-in-the-middle attack. So 3 takeaways that you should walk away this video with. You should audit your organization's current use of AI, get an understanding of what shadow AI is going on today. And then 2, you should move everyone from free plans or model training plans into enterprise or team plans where you're locking down the data. And then lastly, create the policies that your organization is going to operate on, like not using third-party connectors, always using authenticated ones, only using certain products, only using models that don't allow training based on that data, writing all these down, and then enforcing the policy. That's the most important. AI is not going away. Your team is going to use it. So do you want to be the one deciding on how they actually use it? If so, then you need to walk through these things. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked this, then follow and subscribe for more actionable advice that you can take and adopt into your business. And if you want to watch another video, got one linked here, and then also more information down in the description below. Thanks for watching.